everyone. Welcome back to another web hosting video tutorial. In this tutorial, I will show you 5 tools that will help you manage your website and your server. These are the 5 tools that we'll review today. Note that some of these tools are not, or I would say probably most of these tools are not specific to the Lightsail platform, so they should work on any other VPS, virtual server, or any dedicated server that you may be running your website on. Do note that these probably will not work on a shared hosting platform unless your hosting provider has enabled these features for you. Also note that these tools, most of them are open source, but some may be paid. So just keep that in mind, but I will show you a couple of tools or a couple of software items for each of the areas that we'll cover today. So hopefully you find a free version. And also note that I will try to explain, most of this will be done on Windows, but I'll try to explain where you might have an alternative if you're using Linux or you're using Mac. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's get started. The first tool will be an SSH client. Now, if you're on the Lightsail platform, then you'll see in your instances, you'll see a little icon that looks like a little cursor. If you click on that, that's a web-based SSH tool. So you could use that without downloading anything. And I typically use this if I want to quickly log into the server to do any activity, or if I am doing something really quick, not on my computer, then I'll use this web-based one. But if you want to have a locally installed client on your computer, then that's what we're going to do next. So the first tool that I want to show you is Putty. So what you'll want to do is install Putty, and this one is only for Windows and Unix platform. So if you're on a Mac, then you might want to look at CyberDuck or Termius. There is a port of Putty made for the Mac, and I will put a link to that on my website, webhostingforbeginners.net, in the blog post that accompanies this tutorial. I'll also put this link as well for the Windows version of Putty. But once you land on this page, click on Download it here. You'll want to download the Windows installer that meets your system and download that. This will install the Putty SSH client along with several other Putty utilities that are useful if you need them. They are down here, and the one that we will need is PuttyGen for this tutorial. So just make sure you have PuttyGen and Putty download and installed. The next thing we'll do is come back into our Lightsail dashboard, and we'll need to download the SSH key. So click on Account, and then go to your account, go over to SSH keys, and then click on this download link next to the key that corresponds to the region where you have your servers running. So for me, this will be Virginia, US East 1. So I will download this key, and it's here downloaded. One thing I want to show you is, you see the key ends in a .pem. So Putty cannot use the .pem file. So that's why we need PuttyGen. We'll need to convert the .pem to .ppk. So let me show you that. So we'll open up PuttyGen. Here we go. Click on Load. And then we will look for the key we just downloaded. And then once it's imported, we will click on Save Private Key, click on Yes to save without a passphrase, and then we will give this a name, US East 1 key. This could be anything you'd like. Hit Enter, and then we're done with PuttyGen. So we'll click the X to close it. Then we will open up Putty. I have it on my taskbar, or you can just type in Putty and then open Putty right here. Here, we will type in the IP address of the server. So let's click on Home. Here's my IP address. Leave the port 22 for SSH. And then we'll come over to Connection, then SSH. expand that and click on auth. This is where we will provide the private key we just generated. So click on browse, select the key that was just created, the .ppk file, open that, and that should be it. And well, before I hit open, what I'd like to do is come back here over to session, and let's go ahead and save this session. So we could say WP US East 1, and then hit save. That way, all the settings that we just modified in here are saved in this session. So now go ahead and hit open. It should prompt you, open up the terminal and prompt you with a login prompt. For the Bitnami servers that I just have right here on Lightsail, the WordPress server has the username of Bitnami. So, and if you want to see that, if you click on your instance, you'll see that the username is Bitnami. So that's what we'll use, Bitnami. And here we go, we're logged in without a password because we use the SSH key to log in and authenticate into the server. So that's how you'll use the Putty SSH client to log into your SSH, to log into your server using SSH. And then you can use this terminal to manage your server, install or update applications, modify files, and do a lot of activities that are needed to maintain and keep your server running. The next tool that I want to show you is a second SSH client. And this one is called Bitvise SSH Client. If you've seen any of my previous tutorials, then you'll be familiar with this one because in all of those videos, I've used the Bitvise SSH Client to run through those tutorials. One of the great things I like about this one is that it not only has the SSH client, the terminal, but it also has the SFTP built right in. So I can use SFTP to download or upload files and do SSH all in one program. So that's why I really like it, and I highly recommend this one if you're on the Windows platform. So on this one, we will again type in or paste our server name or server IP address. The username is Bitnami. We'll come over here to initial method and we'll pick public key and then leave this as auto, and then come down here to client key manager. And then here for your screen, if this is the first time you're using it, there should be no entries here like I have them. They should be blank. So what you'll want to come in here and do is click on import, then select all files, and then click on the PEM file. That's the one that's compatible with Bitvise, so you can use that one. You'll see this import client key window. In the comment, you can just type in something that is meaningful to you. So you could say this is the key for US East 1, hit import, and it should be imported. For me, I received this error message because that key is already in my client key manager. So we can't import it again, but you'll see it right here. Go ahead and click X to get out of that window, and then come back to this, and really, that's it. You just hit login and authentication completed. So now we're in. Here you can click on this to create a new SSH terminal. So here we are. Or you can click on this icon to new SFTP window. So you click on this, and now we have an SFTP manager where you can go into your WordPress or your apps folders. You can download, upload files right through this tool. So that's why I like this one. So that's it. Those are the two ways that you can use an SSH client to log into your server and perform actions through the SSH terminal. And this is a must-have for anybody that's managing a virtual server or a VPS for their website. So the next tool that I want to show you is PHPMyAdmin. So for those of you that do not know what that is, PHPMyAdmin is a database management program. It's a web-based tool that helps you manage, get access to your application's database and manage the data as well as the tables and perform any kind of operations that you want on your database. Probably the most widely used tool for WordPress-based websites or MySQL-based applications. So PHPMyAdmin, at least on the Lightsail platform, is installed or pre-installed on the Bitnami-based instances. So in WordPress, PHPMyAdmin is already there. I can show you that by going to the terminal. And if we go to stack, this is where all the applications are, and you should see PHPMyAdmin that's already installed. However, the way it's configured, you cannot access it through your computer's browser directly because it's secured and it can only be accessed via localhost. So to be able to access PHPMyAdmin through my computer's browser, we'll have to do a configuration called SSH tunneling. So this is where the SSH client that we installed comes in handy as well. So let me show you that. We already have Bitvise configured from our previous section, so I'm going to continue using this one here. So open Bitvise, go over to your C2S tab. So once you're logged in, you see this window, click on C2S. Right here, you'll type in, or click on add, and then we'll leave this the same. The listen port should be 8888. Destination, you can keep localhost, and then the destination port will be 80. So this is the configuration that you need to have enabled for this profile. And so that's applied. Now, if we go to our browser, open a new tab here, we can go to 127:888, and then if we put PHPMyAdmin, we should be displayed this login window for PHPMyAdmin. And in here, you can log in with your credentials, the database credentials for the Lightcell instance, and they are available in Bitnami. Username is usually for MySQL databases, the root username is root. And then if we paste this, that should allow us to log in. And so this is the database for the WordPress instance that I have running in Lightcell. And here you can manage any of this information, your tables, your data, anything like this through this utility. Now, let me show you what happens if I'll log out. And let me show you what happens if we disconnect from SSH, right? So if I log out of this, that means this SSH tunneling is no longer valid. If I try to reload, we can't reach it. So that's the security configuration that the Bitnami version of PHPMyAdmin comes with. You can't get to it without first logging into SSH. So here we'll log in again. And now if you hit refresh, we're back in. So that's what we need to do to access PHPMyAdmin using Bitvise. With Putty, it is pretty similar, but let me show you how to do that. So once you're logged into your SSH in Putty, click on this menu icon, go over to Change Settings, and you'll want to come over to Connection, SSH, and then Tunnels. So the source port will be 8888. Destination will be 127.0.0.1:80. So that's what we're going to type in. Hit add and then hit apply. I think I may have to log out and log in. So let's log out of Putty, open it up again, load this session, and let's just verify. Go to connection, SSH tunnels, and that's there. Hit open, log in as the user Bitnami, and then let's try it again. There we go. So now that's how you configure SSH tunneling to access PHPMyAdmin for Putty as well as Bitvise. So the next tool will be SFTP. This is another tool that's very important to have and configured to be able to manage your server, because you'll obviously want to upload files or download files from the server as you manage a website. So there are two ways you could do that on Windows. One of them we just saw in Bitvise. If you have the Bitvise SSH client and you log in, you have an SFTP program built right in here. So you can use that to download anything you need or upload files from your local computer onto the server. So that's one route. But if you are not using Bitvise or you don't want to use this, then the other route would be using Filezilla. So you'll want to go and download a program called Filezilla. For it right here, download. Here's a download, and you'll just click on this to download the file. I'll put this link in my blog post on webhostingforbeginners.net so you can have a direct link to it, and you'll want to install this. This program is supported on Linux as well as Mac, so if you have these other two operating systems, then you can use Filezilla for your needs. I already have it installed, so what we'll do is open up Filezilla. And then from here, we'll click on, once you have it open, click on Site Manager. Under My Sites, click on New Site. Under Protocol, select SFTP for the host, IP address, put it in. Port will be 22. And then logon type, we'll select key file. User is Bitnami. And then the key file is, you could use this or you can use the PEM file. Go, and then all you have to do is hit connect. We have it. So here we can now go to our WordPress folder, and we're able to download or upload files from our local to the remote server that we just connected to. So that's how you can use Filezilla to connect to SFTP. So the fourth tool to help you manage your website and your server is actually a set of utilities or a set of commands that are on the server itself. To show you that, we'll need to SSH into our server. So I'm using Bitvise. If I click on New Terminal, that should open up the terminal for the server that I have running here. So the first utility or tool when you log into the server is an editor. So to edit files, I typically use an editor called VI. So if you just type in VI, this is a VI editor that helps you modify files, save files, configure files. Again, if you've seen any of my previous video tutorials, then I use VI quite a bit to walk through those tutorial activities. So that's an editor that I like. Another editor that's available on this system is called Nano. And a lot of people like this one as well. I've used it as well a little bit, so I like it, but I prefer to go to VI just because I'm familiar or memorize the commands that I need to make the changes. But Nano is also another editor, so that's the other tool I want to show you. Now, if you're on the Lightsail platform, or if you are using the Bitnami version of WordPress image on either Lightsail, on Google Cloud, or even on Azure, if you're using the Bitnami version, then this one command will be very helpful for you, is to restart all your services. So the way to do that is SSH into your server and then type in sudo /opt bitnami ctl script.sh and then restart. And if you just hit restart, this will restart your Apache web server, SQL, MySQL database, PHP, FPM, and also I believe Nginx. It will restart everything in case you're having issues with your website, or it's stuck, it's hung, or for whatever reason you need to restart it, then this command is very handy. Once this restart is done, I'll show you another way to use it. So if I just hit the up arrow key, so let's say I just want to restart the Apache web server and not MySQL or PHP. So you can just type in Apache and then hit restart. And this will only restart Apaches. The other thing I want to show you here is logs. So if you're on, again, the Bitnami version of WordPress, if you have that image, then logs are going to be very important for you to look at any error messages or try to debug what may be wrong with your website. So the logs are located here. cd opt bitnami. For Apache, you'll type in Apache 2, then /logs. So once you're in this directory, if you ls and list out the files, you'll see there are two log files, the error log file and access log file. So these are two files that are important for you to use in your troubleshooting or debugging of issues on your website. If you need access to the PHP FPM logs, those are located in a separate folder. So you'll come back out of this, but stay in opt bitnami, go to PHP, go to logs, and then if I list out, you'll see PHP FPM log. So this will also have error messages related to your application, your WordPress site, or anything that is misconfigured on your PHP website. So if you open up this file, this would have all that. Okay, so the last tool that I want to show you, we'll exit out of here, is a website monitor tool. What is this tool? So this tool will continuously monitor your website from the outside. And at the moment it finds that your website is not accessible, it will alert you. So that way you know that your website has gone down or something has happened where your website is no longer available to the public. So again, as I mentioned, these are external tools. One is in Lightcell. If you log into your Lightcell dashboard, you go over to your instance, you'll see metrics, you'll click on that. You scroll down, you can set up alarms for CPU as well as CPU burst capacity. So these alarms, you can set it up to notify you when your CPU is being utilized greater than 5%, for example. And you can configure this however you wish and have it notify you via email as well as SMS text message. And you'll need to configure this. I do have a video tutorial showing you how to set up the alarms in Lightcell. So I'll link that in the description below as well as in the card above. So you can go check out that tutorial to configure this. Another way is to use an external service, and I have 3 of them here to show you. One of them is called Uptime Robot, and I believe I made a tutorial on this one as well. This one is free, or at least it has a free plan. You can go with a paid plan if you need some of the features that are available in just that plan. But once you sign up and you provide the website address or your domain in this account, it will try to ping your website. I think this one does it every 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, if it's not able to access your website, it will send you an email. So this is one that I would highly recommend you have. If you need quicker time checks, like less than almost a minute check, and if you want to get an SMS or voice call alert, then you'll want to upgrade to the Pro plan or Enterprise plan. So this is Uptime Robot. There's another one that is highly recommended. I have not used it, but it's called Montastic. They also have a free version, and they'll monitor up to 9 URLs, and it's a 30-minute check. So your website may be down for 30 minutes before you're notified that there's something wrong with your website. If you need to get notified quicker, then they have paid plans as well. The other one that I've heard about, again, I have not used this one, is called Uptrends, and I believe they also have, or actually I was just on it, they have a free website monitoring as well. You'll create a free account and you can have it monitor your domain and notify you when something goes wrong. And they do have paid plans in case you need some of the features that they offer only in their paid plans. You can sign up for those. And none of these are sponsored or affiliated. I'm just showing you these. The only one that I used out of all 3 of them is Uptime Robot, and it works pretty well. All right, well, that's it. That covers all the 5 tools that I wanted to cover that will help you in your journey of maintaining your website and your server. So now let's head on to the wrap up. All right, well, that will do it. I hope you found this video tutorial useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with others that may also find it useful. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. In the description of this video, I do have some affiliate links. Should you find those interested or useful, then please use those links. That will help me out. I also have a link to my blog website where I post the text version of this video tutorial as well, so you can go ahead and check that website out. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. If you find this type of video tutorials useful, be sure to also sign up for the notification icon so you get notified when I post new video tutorials. Towards the end of this video, I will link to some other video tutorials that I posted that you may find useful. So be sure to check those out, and thanks for watching. And until the next video, take care.